Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next episode in our Fireside Chat series. And today I am joined by Nicola Packer from Fnatic, an esports company headquartered in London. Nicola, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
Nicola, for those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Fnatic?
For sure. So, General Counsel at Fnatic. It's probably easier to start with what is Fnatic. Um, so, as you said, we're a global esports brand. We currently run teams in 14 professional esports titles, and we also develop and sell gaming peripherals and apparel with the aim to level up every gamer and enable our fans to show their support for teams. So Fnatic is actually 20 years old this year. Although we're headquartered in London, we've got teams and therefore operations based all over the world. In terms of how my team supports that, we manage legal, regulatory risk across the whole Fnatic group of companies, and that ranges from support for the pro gaming business, so professional player and coach contracts, transfers, liaising with the title stakeholders, so whether that be the game publishers, tournament organisers, other regulatory bodies. On the more commercial side, we've got an amazing stable of sponsors who support our teams, and they look to us to help them reach our very young and engaged fan bases. So we have a studios, a marketing team, plus a full roster of creator talent to create content to reach that audience wherever they might be. On the peripheral side, the research, development, manufacturing, distribution, logistics, everything that goes with getting those in the hands of our fans, and then all of the corporate work that goes alongside supporting a business like ours. So, management of our IP portfolio, investor relations, fundraising, employment, all that good stuff.
It's extraordinary. I mean, I'm used to it now, right? But when we started working with Fnatic years ago, my this is my first foray into the world of esports because I'm not a gamer, and just to see esports like gaming as a multi-billion-dollar industry was very eye-opening for me.
Yeah, we still have people like my mom who doesn't understand. She's still like, people get
Yeah.
paid to play computer games, And so that education around this industry, and what it means and what it entails it's still ongoing.
Yeah, serious business. Okay, so let's move into the world of legal tech. Sounds like you've obviously got a lot on your plate. You're a small team, but you have an extraordinarily complex business to support. How did you get started with legal tech?
I think like most people, and I'm probably not going to say anything, out of the ordinary here, is that most of our legal tech started with just looking to optimize the team's productivity and also improve our interactions with our stakeholders. So with stakeholders, and by which I mean, I guess, internal clients, we found we were getting instructions from through different channels, different members of the team being selected individually by their favorite people in the business, varying degrees of quality of instruction, as you can imagine. So we started at that really basic level of looking at our workflow. So receiving I guess, streamlining the way that we were receiving our instructions, whether that be through standardized forms, using basic Kanban boards to manage legal requests and update stakeholders. Our not just because of the industry we work in, but it's a very young industry. Our stakeholders are very tech savvy. They're used to being able to access real-time information about, I don't know, orders or requests that they place in their personal lives. And to a degree, we're trying to aim to replicate that in a professional setting. So they'll get
Mm.
automatic notifications when one of the team's been assigned to their matter, then when it's been actively worked on, when we require a response from them, through to, I guess, the document being out for signature and finally being completed. And I think that gives an element of comfort to our stakeholders that their requests haven't just gone into a big black legal hole and they're actively being progressed. We also had to get into the mindset that lawyers aren't the only ones who can do parts of the process. So I think lawyers can be very kind of precious about that to a degree. You know, what we do is very important. It's very difficult, but we started to try and empower the business, devolve autonomy a little where we could to those business partners. You know, whether that be through basic templates, enabling other people to have control of certain processes. You know, even basics like DocuSign or what have you. And part of that is all about optimizing our workflow as well. So trying to reduce some of those inefficiencies that we see, trying to speed up or eliminate repetitive tasks. We don't, probably unlike some of the teams, legal teams that you work with, we don't have a huge amount of high volume similar contracts or T's and C's. You know, we're not seeing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
thousands of standardized T's and C's that just need signing up. So actually some of the legal tech that's available on the market wouldn't really add a huge amount of value to us. That said, we don't want to be reinventing the wheel where we can avoid it. So we have been trying to think a bit more laterally about how we can make improvements to our workflow.
Cool. I love that answer. I love the idea of, I mean, I love the idea of lawyers struggling to give up control. Being an ex-lawyer myself, I understand that deeply. But the idea that I really want to hit on there is people are used to getting information immediately. They're used to tracking their requests transparently online in their day-to-day lives, right? So why would they not get that when they're interacting with the legal team at work? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for
great.
sure. And it's expected. And yeah, we need to provide that
Yeah,
for them to give comfort that we're not just sitting on things.
yeah, it's expected. Okay, so I think that's a really interesting point I want to pick up on about you don't have a lot of high frequency documents, right? Unlike a lot of other teams, because of a lot of it is bespoke. But your team has been an early adopter of generative AI,
Mm-hmm.
which has been really exciting to see, and I've obviously played a role in that. Tell us a bit about that journey. What drew you to it? Where have you gotten to so far? What are you looking forward to in the future?
Yeah, so we started looking specifically at where we were getting repetitive questions, where people had access to information but weren't using it in the right way or interrogating it in the right way. You know, documents that, yeah, just people don't want to read policies, regulations, contracts, but they still need the information from them. And so what we were trying to do is really use some key policies and documents where we are asked questions repeatedly, and then implementing essentially a Q&A tool for frequently asked questions about those policies and documents. So with Josef Q, we've built this underlying knowledge base, and it's just awesome. Like, it generates the answers for us extremely quickly. It can run through large volumes of data, and yeah, do it really, like, analyze it and retrieve that information really quickly. So we also teamed up. We made it a bit of a joint project with our people and culture team. So for a lot of people policies, we used those as one of the pilots, as well as specific areas that the legal team are dealing with particular things like player handbooks or our sponsorship contracts, where we do have maybe slightly higher volume of repetitive questions from our business partners, and giving them access to that information as soon as they can get it.
Cool. And what's the value of that to a team like yours? Why do you want to build a tool that automatically answers frequent questions?
Because my team is a really valuable resource, and I
Mm,
don't want to use their well, I want to use their intellect and experience in the right way. They're really high performers. I don't want them to be demotivated by repetitive work. Um, and then I think also from the team perspective, it inspires them to think differently. It's very easy to just do things the way we've done them before, but I think we always need to be thinking about, you know, what actually really works for us now. What's the best way to do it? What can we always be doing better, if that means differently. And that's really important as well, because our business partners really care about that. If we think about what we were discussing at the start, our business partners want visibility of their matters. They want them to be progressed as efficiently as possible. And by using things like AI tools or other automation, we can empower the business directly. And then that frees up the legal team to focus really on interpretation and risk analysis, more strategic matters,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just telling people what a document says and answering those same questions repeatedly. So it's about getting the most value out of us as a resource. I think it also helps with presenting the legal team as moving with the times. So, again, thinking about our business, we're in a very tech savvy environment. Our business uses AI and automation in other areas. And so I guess we're showing we're part of that movement. We're adopting progressive technology. We're not being left behind, and supporting the business in a way that works for them.
Great. We launched the tools in Slack.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Why does that matter to you? Why is that important?
That was what really changed the game for us a little bit, because it's about meeting the business where they work, and it's giving our users a user-friendly solution, I guess. We had previously tried to implement tools where the team had to go, well, team as in the Fnatic wider business, had to go to, like get another application, and it just never quite felt integrated within the business. And so people stopped
Mm.
using it, and it didn't really add the value that we wanted. So, using Slack also in terms of the legal team means that we also get instant notifications that questions have been asked. It's a really easy way for us to quickly review answers that have been generated for accuracy and add notes. And I guess that almost says, oh, okay, well, are you doing the work anyway that you would have done in answering the questions? But no, because like the ongoing moderation process is so cool, because Josef Q just learns so quickly through this moderation. It's
Mhm.
just a really incredible process to watch. So yeah, it's really about, what is going to work for the business? How is this going to really integrate and take off? And that's what, we do a lot of work on Slack. And so that was why.
Great. I love that. I think it's a simple but like a really sophisticated point for legal tech, and it's definitely where we're going.
Mm.
Okay, I know we're at time. One final question. If you could give one bit of advice to anyone starting out on this journey, what would it be? Or what's a lesson learned?
Ooh, can I distill that down to one? We've learned lots of lessons along the way. So I think a really important one is, like, we're all being bombarded on LinkedIn or like cold emails by companies that are trying to sell you a product that say is going to be transformational for your team. I think it's really important to take a step back from that and actually work out what the problems that you are trying to fix for your team, rather than being tempted by a
Mm-hmm.
solution that looks really cool but doesn't really save you any time or money. Um, and some of these solutions, as I say, are going to actually add another layer of admin bureaucracy, take budget that you could use somewhere else. So that's just at a starting point, a really important thing to take away. But I do also want to add that it's really important for our business, or it has been really important for our business, and the way we're using it wouldn't necessarily be the same for others, but not to wait until it's absolutely perfect to launch. So if for us,
Mm.
it was about taking teams on the journey with us, running pilots for smaller areas of the business, finding out what works, what's a comfortable pace, who are going to be our champions within the business and support this launch. Obviously, if you're in a different world, and you've got a lot of external consumer type facing work that you're doing, you might want to look at it differently. But for us, it was like, get it out there, see it in action, and that's the only the best way for us to have learned our lessons.
Cool. Great advice. Nicola, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Welcome. Thanks, Sam.